Hi everyone, and welcome to your lesson that's all about plant and animal cell organelles, okay? So we talked a little bit about a eukaryotic cell last time and the different organelles that you can see in it. This time we're going to look specifically at eukaryotic cells for animals and for plants, okay? So on the left, you're going to see animal cells. We've got a diagram here with all the organelles labeled and clearly illustrated. But then we've also got what it looks like under a microscope. So you can see how difficult it can be to see all the little organelles here in this space. They're so tiny. So you should be able to see the nucleus that's right here though, okay? And you can also probably see the cell membrane around the cell. That's that kind of border around the cell there, okay? And then over here on the left, you can see a plant diagram. If I move my video there, you can see the plant diagram as well as what it would look like under the microscope. The biggest difference here that you can see is how a cell looks when it has just a membrane around it, like an animal cell, versus a membrane and a cell wall, like here in these plant cells. See how thick these lines here are on the plant cell? And this is because they have a membrane and a wall. You'll also notice how structured the cell looks in a plant cell, okay, and how neatly stacked the cells are in a plant. Okay, a lot of that is because of this cell wall, okay? Now remember from our last lesson that the cell wall is the outermost part of the plant cell, okay? So it would be on top of the cell membrane that you see here in the diagram. So here we've got the cell wall, which is this green line, this thick green line, and it's on the outermost layer on top of the cell membrane, which would be just beneath it. Alrighty. So here again, here's another image that kind of compares plant and animal cells. One of the biggest differences that you'll see in between a plant cell and an animal cell that you'll have to remember is that plant cells have an organelle called a chloroplast, okay? You've heard this term in our last lesson. The reason that plant cells are going to have them and animal cells don't is because this is where photosynthesis takes place. Animals don't perform photosynthesis, so we don't need chloroplasts. We get our energy from the food that we eat. Our digestive system is going to break it down into small parts, and then our mitochondria use the glucose to convert it into cellular energy. Okay, notice that in plant cells, they also have a mitochondria, okay, but plant cells have the chloroplast because that is where the photosynthesis takes place. Okay, and then they've got, of course, that cell wall that I mentioned before. All right, that's why the cells are going to look a little bit more structured. Now, another thing that you might notice is that plant cells are going to have a large central vacuole, this purple thing that's right here in the middle, okay? As we mentioned in the previous lesson, this is the storage center inside of the cell. A lot of it is filled with water, okay? Now, plants have a lot of water in the vacuole of their cells, and they're going to appear healthier than if the vacuole doesn't have a lot of water in it, okay? So when you see a plant that is withering and it looks like it's shrinking, that happens on a cellular level. The water in its vacuole is not enough to keep the plant healthy and strong. So research has shown that animal cells also have vacuoles, but they've got many smaller vacuoles as opposed to one large central vacuole. And then here's just a quick recap of the cell organelles that you're going to have be responsible for learning throughout the course of our unit. I've highlighted the ones that pertain specifically to plant cells there in green. Cell wall, chloroplasts. Now remember, plant cells still have that vacuole, but they've got a large central vacuole instead of just a few smaller vacuoles. Okay. That's it for this lesson. Let me know if you have any questions.